In 1968, most people who used a computer never touched one. They handed a stack of punch cards to an operator, walked away, and came back hours later to collect a printout. The machine was in another room, behind glass, managed by specialists. The idea that an ordinary person might sit in front of a screen and point at something and have the computer respond instantly was so far outside everyday experience that it barely registered as a possibility worth imagining. That changed on December 9th of that year, in a San Francisco auditorium, when a researcher named Douglas Engelbart sat down in front of a live audience and demonstrated something that his own field had not yet agreed was necessary. He moved a small wooden device across a desk. A cursor moved on a projected screen. He selected text, edited it, linked documents together, and held a two-way video conference with a colleague miles away, all in real time. The audience had come expecting a research presentation. What they witnessed was closer to a map of the next 50 years of computing. The question this episode is built around is a mechanical one. What constraint made the mouse necessary? And why did it take so long for the world to catch up to what Engelbart showed that afternoon? To understand the constraint, you have to understand what interaction with a computer actually looked like before Engelbart's work. Computers in the early 1960s did not respond to touch or gesture. They processed batched instructions. A user composed a set of commands in advance, submitted them, and waited. Even the more advanced systems of that era, which allowed what was called time sharing, multiple users taking turns on the same machine, required text commands typed at a keyboard. The computer gave back text. The relationship was fundamentally sequential. You wrote something, the machine responded. You wrote something else. This was not experienced as a limitation so much as simply the nature of computing. The machine was fast at arithmetic. The human supplied the instructions. That division seemed natural and fixed. Engelbart's research group at the Stanford Research Institute was working from a different premise. Their project, funded in part by the United States Department of Defense's Advanced Research Projects Agency, was exploring what they called the augmentation of human intellect, using computers not just to calculate, but to help people think, organize information, and collaborate. That goal created an immediate practical problem. If a computer was going to help a person navigate and manipulate complex information, the person needed a way to interact with that information directly and fluidly. A keyboard alone was too slow and too indirect. The team tested several alternatives. Light pens, which allowed users to touch the screen directly, required the arm to stay raised for extended periods, which caused fatigue. Joysticks and trackballs were evaluated. Each had limitations in precision or ease of use for text-oriented tasks. The wooden device that Engelbart's group developed, which tracked two-dimensional motion across a flat surface using two small wheels, one measuring horizontal movement and one measuring vertical, turned out to be faster and less tiring than the other options they tested. A cord ran from the device back to the computer, trailing behind it as the user moved it. Someone in the lab started calling it a mouse. The name stuck. What the mouse solved was not simply the problem of moving a cursor. It solved the problem of spatial correspondence. The surface beneath the mouse and the screen in front of the user shared the same two-dimensional logic. Moving the device left moved the pointer left. Moving it toward you moved the pointer down. That direct correspondence between physical gesture and screen result was not obvious in advance. It had to be built and tested. But once established, it proved intuitive in a way that command line input was not. You could point at things, which is something humans are already practiced at doing. The December 1968 demonstration tied this pointing capability to a broader vision. Engelbart and his colleagues showed hyperlinked documents, text that connected to other text, window-based displays, and collaborative editing between two physical locations. The mouse was the tool that made navigation through all of that possible in real time. Without it, or something like it, the system would have collapsed back into sequential text commands, and the fluid demonstration would not have been fluid at all. The demonstration became known, eventually, as the mother of all demos. That label was applied in retrospect. In 1968, the immediate impact was more complicated. The research was noted and respected within the computing community, but the commercial and institutional world of computing was not structured to receive what Engelbart was showing. Mainframes were expensive, centrally managed, and profitable as they were. Personal interaction with a screen was not part of the business model. The ideas demonstrated that afternoon would spend more than a decade waiting for hardware and commercial conditions to catch up. It was engineers and researchers at Xerox's Palo Alto Research Center in the 1970s who advanced the mouse into a more refined form, pairing it with a graphical interface on the Alto computer. The Alto was never sold commercially at scale, but Apple's engineers saw what Xerox had built, and the mouse arrived on the Apple Lisa in 1983 and the original Macintosh in 1984. From there, the adoption was not instant, but it was steady. Microsoft followed. The IBM-compatible PC world followed. By the time Windows 95 brought graphical interfaces to the mass market, the mouse was assumed. Present at every desk, shipped in every box, as unremarkable as the keyboard beside it. The design itself evolved. The original two-wheel mechanism gave way to a ball rolling against a surface, which tracked movement more smoothly in any direction. That mechanical ball design dominated for decades, and anyone who used a computer in the 1980s or 1990s will remember periodically removing the ball to clean the grime from its internal rollers. Optical mice, which used a small camera and light source to track movement against a surface without any moving parts, became standard in the early 2000s. Most modern mice detect motion optically. Many have shed the cord entirely, communicating by radio. The object has changed substantially in material and mechanism, while the spatial logic that Engelbart's team established in the 1960s has remained constant. The cost side of this story is worth naming clearly. The mouse as an interface assumed a particular physical relationship with a computer. A flat surface, a stationary hand, a screen at a fixed distance. That configuration shaped decades of office design, furniture, and human posture. Repetitive strain injuries associated with mouse and keyboard use became a recognized occupational health concern. The foot mouse, a device that allows cursor movement and clicking using the feet rather than the hands, exists precisely because some users cannot use a standard mouse without pain or injury. The dominant design solved one set of problems and created others that took years to fully surface. There is also a fair question about credit and continuity. Engelbart and his team built something real and demonstrated it at a documented moment. But the mouse, as most people encountered it, was not Engelbart's wooden prototype. It passed through Xerox, through Apple, through a supply chain and a standards process, and years of industrial iteration. The spatial logic was his. The device that reached consumers was the product of many hands over many years. Treating the 1968 demonstration as the sole origin point is accurate as history of ideas. As industrial history, the story is more distributed. What Engelbart actually showed that December afternoon was not just a pointing device. He showed a model of what computing could be for. A tool for navigating and manipulating information, not just processing it. The mouse was the physical expression of that idea. Give the user a way to point, and the machine can respond to where attention already is. That premise is now so built into daily life that the act of moving a cursor across a screen carries no sense of invention at all. The constraint that produced the mouse was the problem of fluid human navigation through complex, connected information. The answer was a small device that mapped the flat surface of a desk onto the flat surface of a screen. What had quietly changed was not just how people operated computers, but what people understood a computer to be for in the first place. That shift in understanding, from batch processing machine to responsive, navigable space, is the real thing the mouse carried into daily life. The pointing device was just the mechanism that made the idea graspable. Visual reconstructions are illustrative. Facts and interpretations are based on the sources listed in the description.